The advance of the Ukrainian army put multi-layered pressure on Russian troops, and they began to take major measures to stop the rapid advance of the main Ukrainian forces in the Kursk region. Taking advantage of Ukraine's Flag Day, the Russian army, which carried out sudden raids, did not want to lose ground these days. But these measures could not stop the Ukrainian Army's Special Operations Forces because the work for this operation had actually started 2 months earlier. Meticulous reconnaissance, attacks on enemy rear structures, and the destruction of key elements of the Russian defense. These were just some of the tasks successfully completed by the Special Operations Forces fighters. With meticulous planning, the Special Operations Forces fighters prioritized the destruction of Russian air defense systems and ammunition depots, eliminating the enemy's ability to react quickly. Pinpoint attacks on strategic targets and logistics, coordinated with other units, made it impossible for enemy reinforcements to be quickly deployed. Small groups, long before the main operation, infiltrated behind enemy lines and destroyed the Russian defenses before the entry of the main forces. Thanks to the unique and comprehensive use of the Special Operations Forces, the soldiers brought the main forces of the Ukrainian army into Russia. Russia could not come to terms with the offensive on August 24th. The Russian military political leadership once again proved its inability to react quickly to the situation and manage the asymmetry of the war. Hiding in the dense forests of the Donetsk region, Russian infantry thought they were safe. The occupying soldiers, hidden among the trees and bushes, thought they were invisible and were planning an ambush against the advancing Ukrainian forces. But there was something they didn't know. The Bradley armored fighting vehicles of the 225th Assault Regiment were coming to teach them a lesson. The road was now under Ukrainian control. The Bradleys, breaking the silence of the forest with the noise of their tracks, bravely advanced toward the enemy's hiding places. The Russians' cunning plans were thwarted by a relentless attack combined with the power of modern technology. Thanks to the information from FPV drones, the powerful cannon fire of the Bradleys, which could see their targets, left no place to hide. Every single target hidden behind the trees and bushes was detected and destroyed where they stood. This was not just a conflict, but also a demonstration of the technological and tactical superiority of the Ukrainian forces over the enemy. Thanks to the Bradleys' relentless assault, the entire presence of Russian infantry in this area was wiped out. They were not allowed to escape, and their resistance was completely broken. This successful operation proved to the enemy that even the forests are no longer a safe haven. Simultaneously with the operation, in order to prevent and distract the Russian forces' advance, the MiG-29 crew successfully destroyed a Russian Armed Forces UAV base and training point in the Kherson region with a GBU-62 strike. The operation, carried out as a result of the intelligence received, dealt a major blow to the Russian forces. These attacks, which are a warning that the Russian forces will not be able to hold their ground in the region, are of great importance for the defense of the homeland. Friends, if you, like us, want Ukraine to win, write Slava Ukraine in the comments. In recent days, units of the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces located a large headquarters where Major General Mikhail Gudkov, Deputy Commander of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, and other commanders of the 155th Naval Infantry Brigade were located. Based on this important intelligence, the Ukrainian forces launched an attack on the targeted headquarters. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications as we continue to provide the latest news. As a result of this attack, Major General Mikhail Gudkov, a high-ranking commander of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, was killed. In the attack, other commanders belonging to the 155th Naval Infantry Brigade were also killed. This event shows the operation as a successful Ukrainian action that significantly weakened Russia's command and control chain by targeting the enemy's command echelon. It is also proof of how well Ukrainian intelligence works and how effective it is against the enemy. UAV operators of the Vovkodavi Battalion, attached to the 57th Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, exposed a cunning plan of the enemy in Vovchansk, in the area where intense fighting was ongoing. While the unmanned aerial vehicles were tracking the movements of the Russian infantry, it was noticed that a group of soldiers had a different task from the others. This group was not only fighting on the front line, but also posing for cameras and hanging Russian flags around. These soldiers were called flag bearers by the unit commanders. Unlike real warfare, the main task of these people was to take photos and videos to show as if they had captured territories held by Ukraine. These images were then published on social media and Russian television channels to serve a morale-destroying and misleading perception operation. The enemy aimed to motivate both their own public and the soldiers on the front with these fake victories. However, the UAV operators of the Vovkodavi Battalion immediately noticed this deception. They targeted not only the enemy infantry, but also Russia's propaganda tool. With precise hits, they neutralized these flag bearers and all the soldiers accompanying them. This operation was not just a military success, but also a victory that showed how alert Ukraine is even to the enemy's most cunning tactics. This dirty game played behind the scenes ended in Vovchansk, and another blow was dealt to the lies of the Russians. While a Russian sabotage group was on its way to a mission on the left bank of the Dnieper, in the small village of Lepetika, Ukrainian armed forces ambushed and mowed down the vehicle carrying the Russian occupation forces, thus preventing a possible act of sabotage. On 20/08/2020, soldiers from the 2nd Battalion of Ukraine's 25th Airborne Brigade discovered a Russian soldier's bunker in a basement on the outskirts of Pokrovsk, and they quietly approached and threw a TM-62 fuse bomb into the bunker. But they were late in retreating and thus narrowly escaped the explosion. But by courageously destroying the Russian soldiers, they gave the message that they would not allow a single occupier on their land, risking their lives. Russian TOS-1 Sonsepyok was destroyed by the 102nd Territorial Defense Brigade in the Zaporizhzhia region. TOS-1 Sonsepyok is a heavy flamethrower system. Although it looks like a conventional rocket launcher system, the type of ammunition it uses and its operational purpose separate it from others. It is a multi-barreled rocket launcher built on a tank chassis. It is built on the chassis of a T-72 main battle tank. This provides good mobility and high armor protection on the battlefield. On August 22nd, in the direction of Sumy, near the settlement of Magritsa, as a result of the evaluation of the intelligence received by the operator of the KVN team of the Rubicon Center, an AN-TPQ-36 radar system was detected and hit, and a big blow was dealt to the enemy's communication system. AN-TPQ-36 is a portable counter-battery radar system mounted on a wheeled or tracked vehicle used to detect and locate enemy artillery, mortar, and rocket fire. This system plays a vital role in protecting friendly forces by providing instant situational awareness on the battlefield. In the lines of the Kursk region, there was a silent preparation for an operation managed by the Main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, GEUR. The mission was to break the defense line in the area known to be occupied by Russian invaders. However, this time, it was a region where a military unit or an FPV drone would not be sent for this dangerous task. Instead, a remotely controlled, specially designed ground combat robot would be used. This unmanned ground vehicle was not only a reconnaissance unit, but also carried a strong message to the enemy. On the robot was a Ukrainian flag waving like a symbol of defiance. The robot was equipped with a combat module and, controlled by an operator, began advancing toward the Russian positions that had been identified behind enemy lines. Despite the difficult terrain, the robot, advancing with silent and determined steps, was a complete nightmare for the Russian occupiers. Its presence was an unexpected and shocking surprise for the enemy. Russian soldiers hiding in wooded areas and trenches panicked when they suddenly saw this steel monster carrying a machine gun and a waving flag. The robot opened fire directly on the most trusted Russian fortifications, without any risk of a human casualty. The machine's relentless advance completely shattered the morale of the Russian soldiers. They not only took a deadly blow, but also had to face the reality that a machine could challenge them. This was one of the greatest psychological devastations the Russians had experienced until that moment. The operation was not just a tactical success, it was also a masterful move aimed at the enemy's morale and will to fight. The GEUR's flag-bearer robot successfully scared the Russian occupiers in the designated area and once again proved Ukraine's superiority in modern warfare tactics. In the Donetsk region, one of the centers of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, there was preparation for a tense operation near Tolstoy. However, this operation was beyond an ordinary day on the front line, because on the ground, fighters from the Russian Volunteer Corps were working shoulder to shoulder with the special forces of the Main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, HUR, one of Ukraine's most elite units. This cooperation, which went beyond traditional military approaches, aimed to deal a heavy blow to the enemy. The plan relied not only on manpower, but also on the power of modern technology. Initially, unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, meticulously scanned enemy positions from the air, providing live and accurate intelligence on targets. Based on this data, bomber drones and aerial assets dealt the first blow, weakening the Russian defenses. Then tanks came into play, providing heavy fire support and clearing a path for the infantry to advance safely. This multi-layered, coordinated attack quickly collapsed the Russian unit's defense line. The main action began for the Russian Volunteer Corps and HUR special forces that followed the tanks. With a fast and decisive raid, the units that entered the Russian positions neutralized the scattered enemy soldiers. The conflict was short, and the result was a complete disaster for the enemy. At the end of the operation, Ukrainian forces captured a significant amount of loot, 34 rifles and numerous radios. This captured equipment dealt a serious blow to the communication and combat capabilities of the Russian units. Most importantly, by taking 16 Russian soldiers prisoner, a tactical and psychological superiority was established over the enemy. These prisoners would provide valuable intelligence about the state of the Russian army and guide Ukraine's next moves. This operation was not just a success story, but also a demonstration of how the balance on the battlefield is changing. The flawless cooperation of the Russian Volunteer Corps and HUR, combined with the capabilities of modern technology, created a much more effective and destructive force than the enemy expected. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon. This way you won't miss any critical news and you'll be the first to access the latest footage from the front lines. We will continue to show the real face of war, sharing truths from the field instead of propaganda. Your support is very valuable to us. See you in the next video. Slava Ukraina, Heriam Slava.